Well, hi guys, welcome to the next in our series of the CRO Playbook. We are today looking at something that isn't generally looked at too much in CRO, and that is actually about treating your customers better. Now, the whole point of this webinar is to say, well, look, we all know that customer experience, customer service is important, but the question is, by doing that, do you actually bring more revenue into your business? And ultimately, that's what we're going to be tackling today with myself, Johan from Gorgeous, who I'll introduce to you shortly, as well as my colleague and business partner from Blend, Peter Gardner, as well. So let's just move on slightly then, and let's think a little bit more about who we've got today. And that is myself. I am the co-founder of Blend. Johan, who is a senior agency partner manager at Gorgeous. And as I said before, Peter Gardner, who is my co-founder at Blend as well. Now, just for those of you who want to know a little bit more about, well, who the heck are these guys? And obviously, please do feel free to ask any questions in the chat today. Blend's mission and Blend's aim is very, very simple. When we're working with e-commerce brands, we're trying to do one or a combination of three things: get customers to buy more, get them to buy now, or get them to buy again. So ultimately, as a CRO agency, we're looking at websites, and some of the ones you can see here below, and saying, well, ultimately, how do we get the customers on these sites, the visitors on these sites, to buy now, buy more, and buy again? And then secondly, from a Gorgeous perspective, at this point then, I'd like to bring in Peter and Johan. And Johan, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about Gorgeous for people that don't know you guys.
Yeah, of course. And hello, everybody. I just ask you to let us know where you're from in the chat. So I'll be curious to know where you're joining us from. And of course, we have some very useful tips to share with you on how to improve conversion rates by treating your customers better. But we want to make sure that this session together is as valuable as possible for everybody. So just let us know if you have some questions in the chat, if there's something specific you'd like to know. The goal is to bring you guys as much value as possible. So yeah, don't hesitate to engage with us on the chat. With that being said, we're not here to talk so much about Gorgeous, but in case you don't know Gorgeous, it is the conversational AI platform for e-commerce brands. The goal with Gorgeous is to help e-commerce brands turn conversations into conversions. And we do that by, first of all, having a help desk that can help you centralize all your channels, identify and prioritize the different requests that you're getting from customers. But we also have a whole conversational AI component to it that helps brands automate customer support inquiries and drive sales on autopilots. And obviously today we're going to focus on the sales part of it, how to improve conversions, how to improve average order value, and how to improve customer experience with customer support, and in turn, how to improve conversions. So yeah, really happy to be here with you guys. And again, don't hesitate to just add some comments in the chat if you have any questions, or if you want us to deep dive into something, or if something is not clear.
Perfect. Thank you, Johan. I mean, look, it's just important for me to say as well, look, we have been, as an agency, partnered with Gorgeous for many years now. And I think what's interesting, Johan, obviously we've been talking, obviously, before we got going today. And I guess the thing with Gorgeous and with you guys is that there's this perception out there, I guess, in the market that, look, what you guys do is all about on-site chat. It's all about customer experience. It's all about customer service. But actually, the focus now, because obviously the e-com game has changed so much, is using that as a way to drive the conversions, isn't it? And I think that's probably the biggest change in the past couple of years, perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's always been the goal of Gorgeous to help brands turn customer support into a revenue channel. So that's been the goal of Gorgeous since the beginning. But the truth is that now with AI and with the cost of acquisition rising, with tariffs that is happening right now, brands need to do more with less, and they need to just improve the average customer lifetime value. So how much someone who becomes a customer spends on average with that brand. And it starts with people who are on the website, who are going to be a first-time buyer, who may have some pre-sales questions, but also by helping brands save as much time as possible dealing with the actual customer service side of things, like where is my order, can I change my delivery address and stuff like that, and use that time that you're able to save with a tool like Gorgeous to spend the time on pre-sales questions, product recommendations, questions from VIP customers who are more likely to spend more than first-time buyers. They actually spend 68% more. So the whole goal is that your customer support team is spending its time on valuable tasks, on turning conversations into conversions, and really, helping customers and building that relationship with them instead of just replying to like, where is my order questions. So yeah, naturally we're shifting into concretely, how can we help brands turn conversations into conversions? And obviously, what happens on the website and on the chat is going to be key for that.
Fantastic. And guys, look, I think, on that and about bringing value today, the whole purpose of today is really to, I guess, kind of do two key things. The first one is we are going to deliver some tactics to you that we're going to discuss as we go through and break those down. And then towards the end of today's session, we are actually going to be doing a live teardown of 3 e-commerce sites. So thank you to each and every one of you submitted your site to us to have a look at. We will only have time for 3 of them, but if you don't get picked today, we will have another opportunity then to be able to come in and talk about it a little bit more at another point in time. So with that said, what I will do at this point is I am going to stop sharing, and Johan, I'm going to hand it over to you. I think you're going to kick us off with your first tactic.
Of course, yeah, let's get it started. So let me share my screen really quickly. Hopefully this will work. Here we are. And so obviously I have a few tactics to share here, but if you have some thoughts, some comments, or anything else you'd like to know about customer experience and customer support and how it can improve conversions, please let me know in the chat. I see Cornelia asking if we're going to talk about AI sales agents. We are, so that's great. But let's move on to the first tactic. It seems pretty simple, but use live chat as a revenue engine. And the reason I say use live chat is because a lot of e-commerce brands don't have a live chat on their website or don't use one for many reasons. It could be because you feel like you don't have enough time to answer chat tickets. It could be because the customer support team is already overwhelmed. But I would argue that one of the first things you should do is make sure that you have a live chat. It doesn't have to be on all day, every day, 24/7, but it needs to be on at least at the times where people are more likely to buy. And actually 63% of customers are more likely to purchase from a website with a live chat.
Johan, can I ask a quick question actually on live chat? One of the things that I always kind of wonder about here is, are there any metrics out there that kind of say, look, the quicker you respond, the better? Have you guys got any sort of stats around that?
Yeah, I mean, first thing, the number one criteria for a good customer experience, according to consumers, is the first response time. So if you want to improve customer experience, the first thing you should do is try to reply to people quicker. There's also another interesting stat on the first response time, is that if you are able to reply to a chat message within 1 minute, it's going to boost conversions by 391%. I'm not saying that all of you right now should answer within 1 minute on chat, but it's just to show that there is some data showing that the faster you answer, the more likely you're going to end up making a sale, which makes sense. If I'm on the website, I have a question about, hey, do you ship to my country? Or what is the return policy? What is the difference between this product and that product? The faster you answer to me, the more likely I'm going to buy, because I'm already on the website. There's a momentum going. Maybe I clicked on an ad. Maybe I clicked on an email. Now is the time to answer my question, because if you answer to me, after 4 hours, I may have browsed another website and asked that question on another website, got the answer from them. And because I was on the website when I got the answer, I'm just buying from them. So yeah, in general, there's a direct correlation between first response time and customer satisfaction. There's also a direct correlation between customer satisfaction and the number of repeat buyers that are buying from a brand. And we know that repeat buyers spend on average 68% more than first-time buyers. So if you have a better first response time, more satisfaction, more repeat buyers, they're going to spend more. And when they come back on the website, well, they're going to buy. They're not a first-time buyer who is just browsing around. So it's kind of all related together. But yeah, long story short, if you're able to get back to whoever reaches out to you quicker, it's going to boost conversions. And there's a ton of studies and data points around the topic that I'm happy to share with people.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course. Now, let's get into the tactic 1, use live chat as a revenue engine. So customers using live chat are 2.8 times more likely to convert. And that is, quite simple, is because when you are on a website and you drop off and you leave the website, the main reason is because you didn't find what you were looking for right away. The website is hard to navigate, or you didn't get quick answers to your questions. People today, myself included, they're less patient. We expect instant, if not very quick help and seamless experiences when shopping, especially online. And if you have a website and you have a chat, that means you're ready to get back to your customers quicker, and you should be able to get back to them when they need it. So one tip here is making sure that you have a chat during the peak shopping hours. ChatGPT told me that it's during lunchtime or in the evening between 5 and 9 p.m. your time, but depends if you're selling internationally. And if you have a chat but you're not able to answer like right away, make sure that you have a friendly message and manage customers' expectations and tell them we're not online right now, but we will get your message, we'll get back to you, and just reassure people. And I think you'll be talking about reassurance later, and that's one thing that you can do with the chat. Second thing, don't just support, sell. A lot of people have a chat on their website and they use it, to get questions like, where is my order? Can I edit my shipping address? That's great, but that's something that you can potentially automate, whether it is through the help center, self-service options, some automations. But chat is something that people are using when they are on your website. I don't remember the exact number, but I believe that about 31 or 32% of chat tickets that are created in Gorgias are pre-sales questions. So a lot of the questions that you're going to be getting on chat are going to be pre-sales questions. So you need to be able to identify those questions and make sure that you treat them as a lead. So any pre-sale question is a lead, and you should treat it as such instead of just waiting hours before getting back to people. And also, I think that's something that a lot of brands do in the US, but not so much in the UK and in Europe. But it's training the sales team, the customer support team, which soon will become a sales team, and train them on the product, but also how to do upsells, how to suggest a bundle, how to make personalized recommendations, and why not giving an incentive or doing like a competition of who can sell the most this week or this kind of stuff, but have an incentive for your customer support team to sell. And as I answered earlier when you asked me, quick answers mean more sales. So the quicker you answer to these kind of questions, the more likely you're going to make a sale. And if that's something you want to deep dive into, we have some case studies and we have a lot more like data points at Gorgias that we have around that topic, which I'm happy to share.
Awesome. Johan, we have a question for Cornelia, which is related to this. And she says, would any tips on how to drive more questions to live chat or to make it more visible?
I'm going to start to believe that Cornelia got access to the deck before the webinar. Because yes, I'm going to talk about AI agents. It's my tactic number 3, but perfect question, because tactic number 2 is how to assist shoppers proactively. And in general, like, you should be proactive because that's how you're going to get more traffic on the chat. I'm just checking. Yeah, okay. Cornelia was asking about campaigns for live chat. And the reason is customers are 4 times more likely to respond to chat prompts than to initiate a chat themselves. Just like you go to a regular store, you're way more likely to answer to a sales advisor who is coming to you and asking if you need some help than you proactively going to speak to someone. I guess the difference is that online, it's way less annoying to have just a chat pop-up that you can close versus having to have a conversation with someone in a real store. But the point is that, yes, you should be proactive with this, and you should make it easy for people to start a conversation with your team. So don't wait for shoppers to ask for help, but try to anticipate their needs. And one thing that you can do with Gorgias in that case is to trigger some chat campaigns based on data. So based on, for example, which page the customer is on. So what you're seeing right now on the website is a campaign from our customer Pepper. I'm going to tell you guys a bit more about them later. But once you spend, I think, more than 20 seconds on some of their product pages, you're going to see this campaign saying, if you're wondering, how do I know which style will fit me best, which padding option, which fabric, anything else, we're here to help. Chat with us now for expert recommendations. If I was kind of browsing around and looking for a gift for, my sister, my fiance or whatever, I may not go and, ask on the chat, what do you recommend? But if I see after some time browsing this message, I'm way more likely to be like, okay, they're being proactive. They're telling me that they can help. Might as well just, send them a message. And I'll share some data around what is the kind of number of chat conversations increase you can expect when doing these things. A second thing is guiding shoppers with AI-driven conversation starters, suggestions, and recommendations. So that's something that we can do at Gorgias, where, for example, if we know that someone searched for a black bikini, we're going to suggest some black bikinis or a black pareo that goes with the bikini. So we're going to use information we have about the visitor to proactively engage the conversation with something that is relevant to them. So, for example, if I already bought from that brand, we can go into the technical stuff later, but we have a way to identify who is on the website. Is it a first-time buyer? Is it a recurring buyer? And based on what they purchased in the past, we can trigger specific campaigns, for example. And I think that's something that a lot of brands don't do, is proactively assisting shoppers. And it really helps driving a lot more tickets on chats. And actually, on average, at Gorgias, we're seeing that customers who are starting conversations proactively see on average a 24% increase in chat conversations volume, which is huge if you take into consideration the high conversion rate on chat, which I'm going to talk about later, and the fact that this is where people go when they have questions about your brand, when they are like on the website and almost ready to buy.
Johan, on this front, with obviously making sure that you are personalizing your messages, I think one of the other things that always strikes me about Gorgias is sometimes the brands that are using it are not always using the integrations that you guys have got available. So, look, most people probably know about the Klaviyo integration, but you guys have a lot of integrations available to be able to make that messaging more targeted, don't you? And I think that's something I would encourage people to do, not only with Gorgias, but any of the tech stack you're using. Look at actually how you can extract data from different pots to then improve the tool that you're using. Do you find that many people are using that, or is that something that's growing more now? People have become more aware of integrations.
I think, in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated and underutilized features of Gorgias and the e-commerce ecosystem in general, is that a lot of e-commerce brands have, Gorgias for customer support, Klaviyo for email, maybe Yotpo or whatever for reviews. But a lot of the time, for some reason, they don't have all these tools connected to each other, yet they all have a native integration with each other. So that's something that I think a lot of brands are looking into, because the data is there. So we have access to the Gorgias and Klaviyo integration, to the Klaviyo data of the customer. Through the Shopify integration, we know, is this a VIP customer? Did they buy a product in pre-sale? How much did they spend with the brand already? So there could be a world where we can, tag a reply to a Klaviyo campaign in Shopify, and then use the Shopify tag campaign replied in Gorgias, and the fact that this person bought 5 times from us and they only bought winter stuff, so that when they come around this time of the year, we're going to do a campaign with an exclusive discount code just for them, because we know they're engaged and they're already a customer. And we know that now is a good timing to sell them some other products, for example. So that's something that is technically possible, but a lot of people are not doing it yet, I would say.
And I think, look, the logic for that, people are already doing that on email. So why would you not then do that through your site from a live chat point of view? And I guess it's using that logic and just understanding then that there is the tech now enables you to do that elsewhere. Question we've got from Rodney here as well is Gorgias able to track sales or add-ons that are a result of the campaigns or agents?
Yeah, that's a good question. Happy to show you concretely how it looks like at the end if we have some time. But the short answer is yes. So if a conversation in Gorgias leads into a sale, in Shopify, for example, we would be able to see, and also in Gorgias, by the way, we'd be able to see which conversations ended up in a sale. So there's always this topic of, this customer support tickets or this chat tickets resulted into a sale, but did we actually make that sale because of the conversation in Gorgias, or is it because of an email that the person got? Is it because of an ad they clicked on? And that's where using tools like Triple Whale and attribution tools come into place, because in these tools, you can kind of set the attributions and see really where it came from. But in Gorgias specifically, you would see the list of tickets that converted into a sale, and you can have a look at each of them and see, it looks like this one, it was someone who was unhappy and wanted to make a return, but the customer support agents ended up turning things around and making an upsell. So we know that we can attribute that one to the customer support team. And that's how you can eventually incentivize your customer support team to drive more sales, to do some upsells, send some discount codes and things like that.
Great, thank you.
And yes, so Cornelia is asking, yes, the way it works in Gorgias right now is not rocket science. Is if a conversation in Gorgias is followed by a sale within the next 5 days, then we count this as a conversion. So if it's more than 5 days afterwards, we don't count it. But yeah, that's probably something we're going to look at updating soon, because now there's a lot more people looking at the conversions happening in Gorgias. So we might need a bit more robust reporting on this. So yeah, tactic number 2 is to assist shoppers proactively. Tactic number 3 is using conversational AI to scale personalization and drive sales. So this is the AI agent for sales that Cornelia was asking about earlier. And what we are seeing, this is not a Gorgias stat, this is something I found in a study, but e-commerce AI chatbots can increase conversion rates by an average of 14%, which basically means if you have an AI chatbot, you can probably expect conversions to go up if you set it up correctly, of course. But this is factual and based on data. And one thing you can do with a conversational AI on your website is that you can provide 24/7 assistance in all languages to shoppers' questions. Whether it is pre-sales questions, customer support questions, many of them can be answered right away while people are on site, and that will consistently reduce the drop-off. I'll talk about our customer Glamnetic earlier, but for example, they reduced the bounce rate from 37% on some of their pages by using a combination of proactive chat and AI agent. So you can make personalized recommendations and do some upsells. So you can train your AI agent to behave differently depending on who is on the website. Is it someone who never bought from us? Well, maybe we can give them a discount code that we would not give to someone who is a recurring customer. So we can really adapt the way AI agent behaves. It can be more or less aggressive, assertive with the discounts. But that's something that you can set as a brand. But I guess the main thing is most people buy kind of outside of business hours, like at night after work or sometimes on the weekend. Not all customer support teams are staffed and online at that time. So you may be missing out on some sales and some people asking questions if you don't have a chat, first of all. But second of all, if you don't have a way to get back to people quickly. And the good news is that conversational AI and an AI agent is a great way to do this at scale. And it's no longer for the elite or the big brands making hundreds of millions. It's now available to virtually any e-commerce brand. And I would highly recommend looking into this. If not for sales at the moment, at least for customer support. So you can save a lot of time with repetitive questions and have your team focusing on the conversations that can actually drive revenue.
Yeah, with the AI chat there, I mean, one question I think probably a few people might have is saying, well, look, if we want to set this up, how much time is involved to kind of get the basic implementation ready and in usable form?
So it depends on many things. It could literally be done in a couple of hours for a pretty simple use case. It could also take a bit more time. It's going to depend on the data sources that the AI agent is going to be using. So that's going to be mainly the help center. So where you have your frequently asked questions. So if you have that already done in Gorgias, or if there's already most of the questions there, you can just connect it to the AI agent. That's going to be kind of the number one source of information. Then we're going to use like the Shopify information, for example, out of the box. You can have the AI agent scrap some specific URLs of the website. And I think next week, the whole website. Right now, we're limited to 10, but I think very, very soon is going to be the whole website. And also, what would take some time is the guidance. So telling AI agent how it should behave based on the kind of questions. Or if somebody is straight up asking for a 20% discount, well, don't give it right away. First, ask some qualifying questions or suggest this bundle that is more expensive and do the discount only if the average order value is more. So it's more about giving the guidance to the AI agent that will take a bit more time. But overall, it's just a matter of hours and or days. But it's completely worth it when you see the results afterwards. A lot of the brands that are using it now were skeptical at first, and myself, the first one working at Gorgias, I was, and I'm still skeptical about conversational AI, to be honest. But when you see the results, when it's being set up properly, and when it's timely, when it's relevant, when it's helping you provide an experience that you were not able to provide before, like let's say you have someone who is going on your website and asking you questions in Japanese, AI agent can answer these. Someone is drunk at 3 a.m. in the morning and is going to buy your products with a friend before going home. Well, the AI agent can answer that question and have them placing the order before they sober up the next day. So it's providing you an experience that you were not able to provide before as well.
Was that last example thrown there specifically for Peter? Because I think it kind of accurately describes his shopping habits. No, Peter?
Oh, I think... yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, I think it was muted. But yeah, anyways, the point is that it's not that hard to put in place. And for example, if you're a Gorgias customer or you consider using Gorgias, our team is able to help you with the setup. We have a bunch of training, but it's not difficult. And lastly is offering dynamic discounts. So you can have the AI agent playing around with discounts and using that to drive more sales. And a funny thing is, I was skeptical at first, but our customers using AI agent for sales have an average order value 12% higher than the ones who are not on average. And the conversion rate is 62% higher when AI agent for sales is engaging with the customers versus the customer support team, which to me is super impressive. It doesn't even sound real, but it can be explained by the fact that it's available at all times. It answers within seconds in all kinds of languages. It is trained to sell, and customer support teams are not always. Like, for example, I'm looking to buy an ice bath for my birthday next week. And I remember seeing an ad for Black Friday, Cyber Monday of a brand where if you buy a sauna, you get a free ice bath. Obviously, they don't do that anymore. I looked at their Facebook ads, and they're not running any specific discount these days. So I just asked their support team, hey, I remember you were doing this offer. Is there any discount I can get? And instead of telling me, hey, what are you looking to buy? Or, hey, here's a small discount, they just told me, no, we don't have this offer anymore. And that's it. They didn't try to like ask more questions or qualify my need or anything. And because I work in e-commerce and I'm French, so I like a discount, I asked them, hey, can I get a discount? And they just simply like shared a welcome 10 promo code with me. But an AI agent would have done a bit more than that, and probably would have made the sale, because the result is I didn't buy from that brand in the end. I'm going to buy from another one that is cheaper. But Rich is telling me I need to check Mayo Master, so I'll definitely have a look. Thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate it. I don't know if that's your brand or not, but that's a good recommendation.
We're just very good friends with them.
Okay, well, if you have a discount code, feel free to drop it in the chat. But yeah, long story short, conversational AI is a true game changer when it comes to converting more these days. And what we're seeing now is that it's a competitive advantage for brands using it. But soon it's not going to be a competitive advantage. It's going to be a must-have. And that's something that consumers are going to expect. I think this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we're going to see that on a bunch of websites. And we're going to be like, wow, it's so much easier to place an order or get my questions answered. And it's just going to become an expectation from consumers.
Totally.
Yeah, just an example of what this would look like. When someone is saying, I need a foundation, it's hard to find the right shade. And the team is asking if it's more something like neutral, warm, and based on the answer provided by the customer, the AI agent is automatically recommending some products that fit. And just before I let you guys talk about the real CRO sales stuff, just wanted to share a case study from our customer, TUSHY. If you don't know them, they sell Japanese toilets that you can install in your existing toilets at home. Highly recommend the experience. Also, don't Google TUSHY in Google Images or in general. I did that mistake not knowing what it was. So if you want to look at their websites, please search for Hello TUSHY and toilets. Don't make that mistake. That being said, with AI Agent for Sales, they were able to increase by 2.3% their revenue, and also have a 9% increase in average order value. And we're talking about a brand, I don't have the exact numbers, but they're making tens of millions, and the average order value is above $200. So it's really interesting result that they're getting. And for me, the most interesting one is that AI agent has an 81% higher chat conversion rate than the actual customer support team. So it really goes to show that if you're doing something that is relevant, that is helping your customers out, it can definitely improve conversions. And another example is Pepper. We have case studies on our website for both that I'm happy to share in the comments. But without going into the details, because I know time is running, they were able to have a 19% conversion rate on all chat tickets. So that means 1 out of 5 chat tickets is converting in a sale. The AI agents improved the average order value by 18% compared to the customer support agents. So it's just to show that, you know, the impact and the upside from a conversion sales perspective can be huge, even though I understand people that are a bit skeptical about it, but the numbers are proving it. And just Rich is saying, how do we handle the talk to human? Well, very simply, brands have total control on that. So first of all, you can say to the AI agents for whatever type of questions, transfer to a human right away and don't even answer to the customer. Obviously, every time someone is asking to speak to a human, the AI agent would do the handover. That's a very good question. Myself, the first one. I always end up wanting to speak to a human, at least when I'm dealing with chatbots. For AI agents, it's a bit different. I got my first experience last week trying it out with some of my customers. It's actually working really well. But yeah, the point is brands can always keep control on this. And the fact that AI agent can answer a lot of customer support questions on autopilot, the customer support team is a lot more responsive and is able to like actually handle tickets much quicker than before using AI agents for like customer support or redundant type of questions. So yeah, last slide for me, just a summary of some of the results that some of our customers are getting. You can just go on the gorgeous websites and look for the case studies. You'll find the case studies there. We also show exactly what they've done, some examples of tickets, how they were proactively engaging with shoppers. But I guess what you need to remember is that having a chat on your website is going to improve conversions. If you're going to have a chat on your website, try to reply quickly to people. If you can be proactive, even better. So have some pop-ups depending on the data or how much time people are spending on the website, and try to do something relevant. And eventually, especially as Q4 is coming up pretty quickly, if you're able to use conversational AI, either for customer support or for sales, it's for sure going to save you a lot of time and help you generate more revenue.
Fantastic, Jan. Great stuff. And guys, look, I know you probably have more questions, Jan. So look, Rian's going to be sticking around. Obviously, we're going to go into some more tactics from Peter. Do stick around as well, guys, because we are going to be doing the live teardowns at the end of today's webinar, and also be coming back to your questions as well. So, Peter, over to you, sir.
I'm going to start with three things. One, I don't think I've ever been in a room in my life for 36 minutes and not said anything. So that's a first for me.
Sorry about that.
Like, you're all good, right? That's not a dig at you, I promise. It's just I've been quite quiet. Listening to you, I quite enjoyed what you presented there. Number two is, it is 22 a.m. on Wednesday morning for me. So if I look a bit tired, I promise it's not that I've been drinking and about to buy stuff. Thanks, Adam, for trying to say things like that about me. And number three, I don't know about you guys, but every time I see the word anxiety now, I just want to break into a bit of a song and start singing. So
please don't sing. No one needs that.
No, I promise I won't. Definitely not this time right now, and probably have a few more sips of water to make sure I can actually talk. Yeah, so well, let's get into our tactics then. So yeah, the first one is obviously ease the anxiety. Now, what I mean by this, and this is probably something that a lot of people, if you're talking to people in CRO, it's going to be all over the website. It's going to be something that they're telling you all the time. Ease the anxieties. Anxieties is the thing you got to tackle. But we need to break this down a bit more, because it's quite a big, broad term. And essentially, it's just 6 worries, 6 things that are going through a shopper's head when they're shopping on your site, of what it is that they're looking for to make sure that they can actually make that purchase. So the first one is the obvious one. Will it fix my problem? Will it serve the purpose that I'm looking for? Am I looking for a pair of trainers? I go walking every day. I needed to make sure it's got good support. That's the question. Is this thing going to serve that purpose? The next anxiety that they're thinking of, or worry that they've got, is, how long is this thing going to get? How long is it going to take to get to me? I mean, ultimately, if you're not showing shipping messages of when it's dispatched, when it's delivered, updating the customer constantly, you are giving them a lot of anxiety about when they're actually going to get that product, because most of the time they need it within those next few days and they want it as quick as possible. Thanks, Amazon, for nothing and one-day deliveries, but it's essentially what customers have been trained to look for, is that next-day delivery. The next one they're looking for is a great value for money. Like, they don't want to be ripped off, and they want to make sure that the product they're buying is something that they're going to get value from. And you've got to be positioning your products correctly to show them that they are going to get great value for money as well. And then they want to know what their risk is if it flops. Now, this is where your guarantees, your return policies, etc., come in, and you need to flip that. You've got to do a risk reversal here. You've got to take the risk off them. So ultimately, they just don't want to look like an idiot when they purchase from you. And that's exactly what the next one is. Do other people love this product? If they can go and see that other people love it with reviews, etc., there's social proof, they're going to go, okay, great, there's a whole bunch of other people that are buying this product. If I buy it, I'm not going to look like an idiot because there's other people that did it. But if you've got none of that social proof and you've got no reviews or anything like that, it's going to be very tricky to convince those first few to get through the door and actually buy those products. And then the last one is, and obviously is, can I get help fast? This is obviously where chatbots come in. And this is where, if they need information, if they can't find the answers to these anxieties, they're going to trigger the chatbot and they're going to go through and they're going to try and speak to AI, try and speak to a customer service agent to get that answer. Now, these 6 worries, if you're thinking about what's just happened today with ChatGPT launching shop buttons and shop cards within ChatGPT, these are the exact same things people are going to search for in chat. So the answers and the queries to these exact questions are the things that they're going to search for in chat to try and get the answers quickly. And they'll go through the process of asking chat these questions to try and convert. So they're extremely, extremely important to make sure that you're solving those anxiety and those worries for your customers. So those are the tactics that we're talking about here. So I want to talk about one little change that you can do. And now obviously within those, you can do tons of things. But one of these tiny little things is the risk reversal that I talked about earlier. And right at that money button, what you want to be doing is add those little risk reversals just below the add to cart button, just before they're about to make that decision of going, okay, I'm ready to buy now. And they're going to go, well, I'm not going to look like a fool. If something goes wrong, I've got this 1-year warranty and a 90-day return policy as well. So essentially by adding that, and now these are things that were already policies within this business, but they weren't getting shouted about. They weren't placed in the right areas. And by doing that, we got a massive increase in not only conversion rate, 4%, but we actually also got a 17% in average order value. Because all of a sudden people were going, oh, well, I can get the more expensive product. I can go and shop more because there's less risk for me right now. And if I do get it wrong, I've got this return policy. I've got the guarantee. So they felt a lot more comfortable to buy from the store. And that's the reason why these things are so important, because they have that compounding effect of not just doing conversion rate, but also increasing that average order value. So that's tactic 1. Tactic 1, reduce the anxiety. More importantly, make sure that you're answering those 6 questions. And the best place to answer those 6 questions is above the fold on the product page, right where they're trying to make those decisions so that they can see all the information. And if you don't have that all available, make sure that you've got an FAQ, make sure that you've got a help desk, make sure you've got a chat bot, because your customers want the answers to these things. And to circle back to what Johan was saying earlier, they want these answers and they want them quickly because they don't want to stick around. They want to be making that purchase today. They don't want to be going, okay, cool, I'll wait for an email back from you in about 3 business days. They want it now. So just make sure that you've got all that information and you're reducing those anxieties. All right. Should we get on to tactic 2?
Let's do it.
All right. No song for me this time, but tactic 2, tactic 5. Remove the frustrations. Now, frustrations come in a hell of a lot of different ways. And essentially, this is all about friction in the purchase, things that add friction and make people extremely angry. I don't know what's going wrong there with our little slide, but essentially if you can't read the ones behind there, these are the elements that make your customers rage. Like rage, click on a button. Your pop-up pops up and they don't know how to close that thing. Like ultimately, I've written pop-ups big there because that's my pet peeve. I absolutely hate pop-ups, and I especially hate them. If I'm on a site and I get 3 or 4 pop-ups at once overlaid on each other, makes me want to just bounce immediately. Now, the other frustrations, obviously, slow load times, bad navigation, search, and filtering. I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever navigated a site that's got a lot of SKUs and you get to a product page and then you filter it by, say, well, for me, I'm a big guy, double XL, so that's the shirt I want, and I want it in black. I click on the page and I go back to the connection page and my filters are all gone. It's like, just have those things just logged in the system so you're making sure that you're not breaking the filters every time someone navigates back to the connection page. So yeah, that's essentially what we're talking about with friction. And what I'm talking about here is such a simple change. And this is speaking to the one I'm talking about, scattered product information. It speaks again to the anxiety point, but this one as well is don't make people have to click through to multiple pages to go and find the information. Got a returns policy, put the policy, short little policy in there, have a little help button that pops up, a little light box with the information. Don't make them navigate to the return policy page. Don't make them go to an FAQ page. Have those FAQ sections on your product page. Essentially, you need to make sure that you're containing information in a way that they can quickly find it and they don't have to have extra clicks to get through there. That's a clever slide there. See what you've done. Thanks, Rich. You're such a lovely chap sometimes. Okay, so what we did with this brand was their information was just in one long description on their product page below the add to cart buttons. Now, this information was all that information that we're talking about, but like I was saying, scattered in the page. And there's no way for somebody to quickly scan it. And now we all know it, and we spoke about this point a little bit earlier as well. People don't have patience anymore. Everybody wants everything fast. People want to find things fast as well. So what we did is we just broke that information down and we put them into accordions with clear descriptions of what the information was. And this boosted this website's conversion rate by 15%. A tiny, tiny, tiny little change had that big impact. And now if we just go back to those frustrations, I'm just talking about one there. There are thousands of frustrations that you don't even know are happening on your site. And if you're not looking at your site on a daily basis, clicking through, ultimately, if you spend a lot of time on your site, you're going to find the frustrations quicker than anybody else. And I would challenge everybody to go to their website now and go, okay, great. Think about one of your products that you've got in your store, maybe one that's not as common, not your best seller, and see how many clicks it takes you to actually purchase that product. See how many times that you've got to go somewhere else to figure out that information. And while you're doing that, make sure that you're going through and saying, okay, how quickly do I get the answers to what we were talking about in the anxiety level as well? I can guarantee you it's not as quick as you think it is. And you're going to find ways that you can improve your store pretty quickly just by doing that exercise. All right, last tactic time. This one is simplify their choices. So, look, I'm just going to skip straight to the next slide because I don't really have to say much more than there are so many studies done on simplification. Cognitive load, paradox of choice, Hicks law, decision fatigue. Ultimately, every single one of these talks about make life simple, make it easy for people to actually understand what they're choosing, how they're choosing. Don't make them think. Ultimately, you want to make sure that your website, you could sell it to your grandma. I know it's an old saying, and it's something that people have said for years. You want your website to be so easy to understand and so easy to understand those choices that they're not feeling tired at the end of the day. I had a bit of an experience yesterday purchasing new tires for my car. My word, I was exhausted at the end of the process because there's so many different sizes of different elements that you've got to understand. And then you just think, you go, oh, cool, I found a great deal. And then you go through and you go, oh, wait, the wall lining or whatever, I don't even know what it is. Didn't match up. I was going, what the hell? Do you know what? I used ChatGPT in the end. I was just like taking screenshots of tires and going, this is the one that will work for me. Is this the one for? I couldn't go through that process of trying to select these tires anymore. Now, that exact reason, and what we're talking about here is the cognitive load. We did that on Azuna, and essentially they had these options to do things that there was multiple decisions to make within one option. So we thought, no, let's break this down. Let's make this a lot more simple. And we pulled those out. And just by doing that and making that system just a little bit more like the thought process of, as people are going through, what color do I want? I mean, not what color I want. What scent do I want? When do I want it by? How long do I want it for? Just going through a process, we increased the revenue per visitor by 4%. And subscriptions went up 6% as well. Look, I'm not talking massive figures here. But what I am talking about is little changes, and running these little changes on a regular basis, they compound over time. It's just compound interest. It's compound interest. So if you can continue to do these, and like I say, that is just one element of that big tactic. That is just one element of that big tactic. And that is just one element of that big tactic. So you can see here that you're never really going to run out of ideas, because ultimately you can go through the process of running all these tactics, focusing on one little element, one bit of psychology, and you can eventually just improve your store time and time and time and time again. So that's me. I'll wrap that up.
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter. So we've, guys, look, we've obviously there are 5 or 6 tactics there, sort of practical things that, look, a lot of people listening in today can have a look at and get involved in. What we want to do next, though, guys, is 2 things. The first thing is we want to answer any questions that you guys have still got remaining for either myself or Peter, obviously for Johan. And the final thing as well is to look at the store teardowns that we're going to do of the sites that have been submitted. So if you've got any questions, guys, do pop them into the chat. We'll make sure we get to those. In the meantime, Peter, do you want to share screens and we'll have a look at the first site you've had a look at? So what is the store? What's the URL? And let's have a look at it.
Cool. Just give me 2 seconds to switch over.
No worries.
So in theory, the brand is on the call, right?
We hope.
Either on the call or is getting the recording.
Yeah.
Share screen. That's the one. And it's Chrome tab. There we go.
And yeah, if you have any follow-up questions around, using a live chat, how to proactively assist shoppers and get them to start a chat conversation, using conversational AI to deal with customers' questions and problems, how to ease their anxiety and make sure that they're not worried about shopping with your brand, removing frustration. This one I really liked. It made me want to just list all the things that could frustrate me, or ask ChatGPT what are the most frustrating things or the main reasons for someone to leave a website, have that list, and just do this audit for my brand, which I don't have, but my friends' brands at least. And yeah, lastly, like if you have some questions around how to simplify or what to simplify, just let us know and we'll be happy to help.
Awesome. So the first website we're looking at is Version. And I really like these sneakers. I think they're really, really cool. So the first thing that comes to mind when we're looking at here, look, this website is designed. It's beautiful. It's a very nice, clean design. It's it's intentional that way, which is great. Now this is something, and Adam will probably resonate and agree with me here. It's not something that I say often at all. I always talk about simplifying a navigation, but I feel like we've gone a little bit too far here. There's still some elements of informational type of things. We could make them secondary links. We could make them more like what you've got down here with login and the currency conversion, but you want like the about us. This is clearly a brand that you need to tell the story with. It's you need to have that about page. You need to be telling the founder's story. And you've also then got to have your returns and your shipping policies, etc. And putting those in the navigation are only going to help you. But yeah, you can 100%. You can even put them right down here at the bottom because you don't want to take the focus off that. But that's definitely something that I would be testing on that navigation, is actually adding in some more your trust boosting and your informational type pages within that navigation over there. On the actual product page, if I'm going to be super nitpicky, I would definitely say we could reduce the size of this title over here. Now, the reason is that takes up a lot of vertical space on that first load, and it does push the shopping elements further down. And on a lot of mobile devices, you're not even going to see the price at this point. So it is something that I would look at, maybe looking at making that a bit smaller so that we can get a bit more of the actual form coming up before that. Now, a couple of ideas that this brand could run as well would be adding the accepted credit card payment methods just below the price over here as well, just so people can get that visual clue, that little bit of trust on the different payment methods. That might be a nice little test to run over there. And then definitely, like the case study that I showed you, putting some more of those risk reversals down below the add to cart and the buy it now button. I think that will really add a lot more trust and a lot more answers, and people will feel a little bit more comfortable to buy these sneakers at that price as well. Because if they're going, look, I'm buying it, but if I get it and this isn't great quality, I'm going to look like an idiot. My wife, my girlfriend, whoever it is going to go, why did you buy that? What's going on here? It's so expensive, but you just go, it's okay. I can just return it right now because there was a risk reversal at the bottom of that. So those are the things that I would say on the product page. And the last thing I would say is probably could do with adding some lifestyle imagery styling so that people can understand how this is styled, where it's worn, just to give them a bit more idea of what it will look like on them as well. I know there's a video over here, but definitely just adding some more lifestyle imagery would be good, I think, at this point as well. Guys, anything to add from your side?
I think from my point of view, I definitely would move up the color swatches. I think, for me, looking at this, customers are going to be wondering, are there other product colors available? So getting that further up so there's less scroll on towards that, I think is important. For me, I would want to put that above the size selector, because that's going to generally be, that decision-making wise, they're probably going to be thinking about other colors before they're then going to obviously then go to the sizing. Obviously, you use heat mapping to see actually where the user interaction is on those buttons. But I think I would personally like to see that as well. I think, look, we can see video.
Adam, just to interrupt you there. Look at that experience. So if you click on a color, you've now got to scroll up to see the images.
Yeah.
And then you're going to scroll back down to click that. Whereas you're going to be a lot better off having that further up. And I think that plays again into the double line of the title there as well. Getting these options further up will prevent people from having to scroll up when clicking those colors.
Absolutely. And I think, look, they're using video obviously here. I think for me, because of thinking about the product, what we need here is actually video that is functional, practical. So if it is the all-day sneaker, are we actually showing, look, when you bend the shoe, how does it bend? How does the fabric react? We're talking about a product here. We need a video to match, I guess, the job to be done. I think the video they've got is more kind of a lifestyle type video, which I think, can work. But for me, I would want to be A/B testing whether that different video content would work better to convert within that as well. So yeah, a couple of small things for me. But again, look, everything obviously said today is always going to be verified with the data, with your heat mapping, with your GA4 data, Shopify data, everything that all three of us have talked about. But those would be some of the things that I would call out particularly there from gut feel.
Nice. From my perspective, I just want to add that they're doing a really, really good job with the help center and the frequently asked questions. That really is best in class from what I'm looking at. The only thing is I tried on desktop on their help center. At the bottom, they have a section where you can contact them, like contact form, email, live chat. But when I click on the live chat button, when I put my mouse on it, it moves. So that clearly tells me like this is a clickable button. But when I click on it, the chat doesn't open. So that's the only thing that I would change, is making sure that in the chat with us button, when you click it, it opens the chat right away. So yeah, it's not this one. This is fine. It's when you go into the help center, but yeah, don't have to.
I got you.
You don't have to go through it now. It's okay. I'm just conscious of time as well.
Yeah, should we move on to the next website? So the next one we're going to look at is 38 Terra. And let's have a look-see here. I'm just going to refresh. I'm not sharing the right screen, am I?
We're still seeing the VRSN one.
Yeah, share this tab instead. There we go. We've switched over. There you go. Okay, again, we're going to look at the product page. And look, you're probably going to notice that I'm looking at the product page mostly today because I think that's the places that we've spoken about quite a lot with our tactics to make sure that we're looking at these different elements here. So one thing that I would say that we would run a test on here is actually putting the image thumbnails instead of the, oh, there we go. There's the rage click pop-up for me. So yeah, that's that pop-up. I don't know if that's just on a time delay. I'd probably look more at like a scroll delay or an exit intent. I'm not sure maybe if it did pick up an exit intent for me there, but I was busy interacting. I was looking at photos. Surely that's what you want me to looking at instead of giving you a 10% discount. So what I was saying here is just getting the actual thumbnails of those images so you can see a little preview. I think we could see that on version earlier. They had the actual thumbnails down here. You don't need them to be as big, but definitely having them down here definitely could add a lot so that people can understand that they can easily scroll through these images as well.
And that's an A/B test that we've run quite a bit at Blend, just in terms of user image thumbnails. And every time we've run that test, we've always seen that both the AOV and the conversion jumps up. So if you're not using those image thumbnails already on your own store, definitely worth trying that out as a test.
Yeah. The next one that I would talk about here is the fact that we don't have a call to action again above the fold. And what we do have, though, is that gift. I think this is based off the pop-up that just went up. If I click that, yeah, it's the pop-up. So I've got that there now constantly sitting on the screen. Now, the problem with that, if we do add a sticky add to cart button down over here that scrolls with us as we scroll down the screen, it's going to get overlaid by this pop-up as well. So it's going to have some overlay content. And that's something that a lot of brands, when we audit sites, it's something that so many brands have missed, and they don't realize that they get that effect that you can see right now, where you can't actually even click on the add to cart button because you've got these sticky elements down at the bottom that the add to cart button isn't taking preference and sitting on top of. So yeah, that's the second one there. It's not on this page over here, but one of the other things that we would look at is adding a pre-order option when they're out of stock. I think it was another page when I was clicking around. They don't have the ability to get that pre-order. So definitely adding that in just for those people that are going to bounce when they've got that product, I think is important as well. Do you guys have anything to add before I continue? Do you want to have a look more?
The only thing on my side, I think the chat may not be available on mobile because it is on desktop, and the chat is well set up in the sense that you can see, for example, can I take DMEN with my health condition? How do I manage my subscription? I have questions about the loyalty program, things like this, pre-sales questions. That's great. The help center, if you can scroll down and access it, it looks great. Visually, it's great. But it's a completely different URL than the website. So that means in terms of SEO, it's not going to be ideal. And I looked at the chat. This is a Gorgeous customer. What you can do with Gorgeous is you can embed your help center into an existing page of your website. So if the team at 38 Terra is listening or watching the recording, otherwise I'll reach out to them. They can just embed their help center in an existing page of their website instead of having a whole separate URL for the help center. That would be the only thing.
Completely reloaded their new site. Yeah, it's this is one of those frustration elements that a lot of people get as well. The fact that they've then got to redirect to a different site to get those answers. Friction, frustration, that really needs to be addressed, in my opinion. And I think if they already own Gorgias, I think that's a great way for them to solve that problem.
Peter, we've got a question from Rodney. So he says, is it best to remove the stick elements or not use it entirely?
Remove as in when your add to cart button is there at that point, or do you mean not use it? I mean, look, I'm arguing about semantics here. I would say not use entirely. That type of pop-up that you've got there, this overlay over here, I don't think is adding anything. You're going to be serving that pop-up, but I definitely think that pop-up can be served in a better way. There's definitely, this is probably Klaviyo, if I'm right in picking it up.
Yeah, so Rodney says in that scenario when it blocks your add to cart effectively, yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you want to use it, if you want to keep using it elsewhere on site, so if you're on your home page, things like that, on your collection page, sure. But when you get to that product page, make sure that it's gone. It's just too much distraction as well. It's taking up. I know what I'm showing you guys right now is quite a long mobile screen. This will normally be shorter as well. So you can imagine that that's probably taking up the bottom element of about probably 15 to 20% of your screen height. And you just don't want to compete with that call to action that you really want them to be pressing. I mean, if I asked anybody, would you rather get a 10% discount and sign up to be the newsletter, or would you rather hit the add to cart button and get that person to go through? Maybe abandon cart, then you can target them with emails, or they actually get the purchase. I think everybody's going to take the second option. So, but if I had to be completely blunt on my preferences, I would say just get rid of it completely and never have it ever. But that's my bluntness, isn't it?
Love it. That's what we're here for.
Cool. Should we do the last site then? I think we've run out of time, haven't we?
See on my side, I'm already 7 minutes late for my next meeting, so I'm gonna have to go. If any of you want to keep the conversation going around customer experience, customer service, or Gorgias, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. We'll probably email you the slides and the recording. So more than happy to stay in touch with all of you. Thank you very much for staying until now. I'm gonna have to go. I'll let you guys finish with the last analysis. But yeah, if somebody wants to have a call with our team, please use the QR code. And hopefully this was useful and you learn a thing or two.
Fantastic. Johan, thank you so much. And like Johan said, guys, there's a QR code to book a call in with Johan and the team from Gorgias. As well, there is also an opportunity to speak to Peter or myself where we do our metric on fire diagnostic session. So, Johan, we'll say goodbye to you, sir. But we're going to skip back with Peter and we'll just finish that last tear down off as well. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Cool. Should we do the last one quickly? I think there's probably a lot of people that want to skip off. So let's get straight to it.
Yeah, sounds good.
We got another sneaker brand.
All right.
So this one is Aloha's. Right, it's shared. That's good. All right. First one here is that search bar. We have run this test, I don't know how many times now, but exposing the search bar on a site that's got a lot of products like this, make sure that search bar is constantly exposed at the top below that header over there. It can scroll off screen as you're scrolling, that's fine, but the minute you reverse scroll back up, make sure that it's popping up. That's a user showing that they want to do something else. And instead of them bouncing, let them know that the search bar is there so that they can actually search. Bonus points for adding in some little prompt there to make sure that they actually understanding what they can search for as well. So yeah, that's definitely the first one that I would add on this site. Adding that search bar, track it, see what's happening, make sure it's constantly there at the top, just below the header, and you probably see some great results of doing that.
Great examples of thumbnails there, Peter.
Yes.
Also the opportunity then to obviously see the colors like we were talking about previously as well, but also then showing the users the product. Also cleverly designed there, because obviously from a pixel point of view, slightly larger, and the shape of those to prevent any kind of mishitting, which is good. I think, the select size, if you can just click on the select size. Okay.
Friction in my opinion.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, I like to see the impact of that on users and what they're doing. But yeah, to me, it feels a little bit overkill for what needs to happen at that point.
Yeah. So just to explain the friction there, to close this now, I have to click on that cross. Whereas if you've got little buttons over there, the only actions you're going to do is actually click on that button. The other thing that I'm pretty sure they could get right as well, and I'm pretty sure that they're doing this because they're trying to make sure all the colors are showed on the collection page. But it is possible to make sure that you actually don't redirect. So you'll see now, if I click on one of the other colors, I'm redirecting, and then I've got to wait for this page to be interactive as well. And to be honest, right now, it's taking quite some time. I actually can't scroll right now. So this page is currently inactive. Let's see if I go back, if I get it to scroll now. Still not scrolling properly. So yeah, that's definitely something I would look at, is not forcing that redirect, because you're forcing people to wait. You're forcing people to get to the next thing there. One of the other things that I'll add in there is when I clicked on that, the position of these options changed as well. So I've all of a sudden gone from, okay, well, I've clicked on that, but now that's the first option, red's there. If I want to make sure that I'm checking all the colors, how am I going to really know? Because they're jumping around every time that I go for it. So just to show you that, if I click on the brown one now, the brown one will jump to the front. Oh, I'll become inactive again, unfortunately. Let me see if I can hit refresh and show you this. This might be a desktop issue. It might not be on actual mobile phone. So just the way that we're sharing this, but definitely something that we should be looking at to try and see if that is a constant issue. Yeah, I can't interact with this page right now, so not much more I can show. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to that page. Yeah, I'm stuck. It's not actually letting me go through anywhere. So
well, look, I think we have covered a lot of ground today, and we just want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for joining. If you are also watching the replay, I hope this has been useful too. And just to basically say as well, guys, like we said there, if you would like some more information from obviously Johan and the team at Gorgeous, there's a QR code there for you where you can book in a call with one of the Gorgeous team. And as well there on the left-hand side, there's an opportunity to book here with myself or Peter for one of our metric on fire diagnostic sessions. And what this does is basically we have a call where we are looking at, in terms of your site, where do we need to fix? Do we need to fix the buy now? Do we need to fix the buy more? Or do we need to fix the buy again? So all of those options are obviously open to everyone. You will also be getting a copy of the recording as well as the slides. And thank you guys very much for joining us. Cheers.
Cheers.